Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Omnitas hosted webinar on Workdocs. So we're going to take a little deep dive into Workdocs and its functionality and some cool new features that have been released in regards to it. My name is Ludwig. I'm a customer success manager here at Omnitas Consulting, and I'll be taking you through this today. So let's jump on right in. So the Workdoc is basically what you normally use a Google Doc for, perhaps. It's a living document that you can continuously change and share with people. However, it also contains all of the great Monday functionality, making it a much easier living document. So either you can have it on an item level and have updates and things in there, or you can have it as, your personal to-do list. You can share reporting with either internal or external stakeholders or even executives that don't necessarily work in Monday, but still wants to see the result of the work that is being done in Monday. So what we're going to go ahead and do is, first, you need to create your doc. Now, there's two ways that you can create your document. You can either go here on the little blue plus and you create a new doc, or you can even choose to create a doc from a template. Now, there's also another way. So let's go in here in our board where I have a files column here, or in this case, I'm on the doc column. And you can just go into it here and you have your document in here. Now, the big difference between the two is that this document lives here on the item level. So it's lacking the same sharing possibilities that a doc that would live in the left field would do. So on here, sure, I can go ahead and I can copy the doc link and I can send that link to someone. But that person needs to have access to this particular board in order to see this document. Unless, of course, you export it to a PDF and you can still see the things that are on here, but it wouldn't be a living document the same way it would otherwise. We're going to return to this in a sec, but let's create ourselves a new doc. We're going to rename it Webinar Doc. Create it here. Great, we have our doc. Now, there are some quick starters in case you need some kind of easy template, like you just want to write down meeting notes, you want to have a to-do list, maybe a project plan, a marketing brief, or you can start with AI. And if we start with AI, it's going to give us a prompter for a template generator. Now, like you see, the first example here says invoice, sure, iteration planning, interview summary, vacation plan, or it could be, I don't know, let's do a Q1 strategic plan. So we write strategic plan for Q1 this year. Now, the AI in here works very similar to the AI like ChatGPT. The more specific you are with your requests, the more it will be able to give you. So in this case, it's just going to give me a strategic plan for this year. However, I might want to include with focus on expansion and expansion within our, let's say, retail business. And yeah, let's leave it like that. Generate. It's going to think for a little while. Great. Now we have our doc. Here we can have a summary of the doc. We have vision and mission, SWOT analysis. I'm not exactly sure what SWOT exactly stands for. But then we have our objectives and key results, market analysis. Like, it fills it up with things that most likely, depending on what you put into it, will be the things that you need to get going with your document. But in this case, we're not going to do this. We are going to go to the one I've created earlier, where I did exactly the same thing, where I typed in, I wrote a board meeting with the executives. So in this case, we are presenting our financials to the board with all the executives there. And what can we need there? So it gave me date, attendees, meeting goals, agenda, financial updates, strategic initiatives, key performance indicators, risk assessment, decision-making, action items, and then a summary at the bottom. In here, you have some basic information like who created it, when it was created, when it was last updated. And here, under date, you can either just simply write in the date, but they've added a cool little new feature called dynamic values. So if you press on dynamic values, you can get either today, so the date that this is actually happening, and even the time. So let's do today, and let's also add time. Now you also see that there's a grayed out box here. That is column values. But as you can also see, it says this is only available for docs that were created in a doc column. I'm expecting in the future, because like I said, this is a very new feature, it's still in the beta. I'm expecting that eventually this functionality will also be added for docs that live here in the workspace and not on an actual item level. But now we have our date and we have our time in. But let's say that we were on the actual board level here, and on this one, the big acquisition item. We're going to open our Monday doc. As you can see, I've done a little table here where we have our revenue analysis. And right now, we don't have anything here on expenses, but we have revenue. So let's remove that one. And I'll show you. So you go to dynamic values, you go to column values, and here you can select from the columns that you have in the board, on the board that this is created in. So for example, we can bring in our revenue then, and you get a live number. If I change this on a board level, and let's say someone has this document open in another place, that value will change because it's changing in the column, and it will also change here. So it's basically like a type of connect, but you don't have to connect an entire table or an entire board like that because it's already in here in documents. It's just a little dynamic value. But that is not available yet for the workspace ones. Then we have our attendees. We can just tag people that are in this meeting that are also in Monday, for example. So I can tag Gustav, I can tag Fredrik, I can tag Erika, I can tag Lucas, all the people that should be here. I can tag. If we have any goals that we're discussing, let's write it down. And then we come to our financial updates. So what I have done in here is that I've added 3 number columns, and I'm bringing in numbers that are from, number widgets that are being pulled from number columns in 2 different boards. I'm pulling those from Webinar Financials 1 and Webinar Financials 2. So first of all, we have our column for revenue. Then we have our widget for cost that is pulling data from another board, because as you noticed on the Financials 1, there weren't any numbers for the actual cost, only for the revenue. So I'm pulling those in here. Then I am using this widget to get both the profit and the revenue, the revenue and the cost in there to get out the actual profit. So I simply go in here on settings, and I'm pulling from that board, I'm pulling the revenue. And here on Webinar Financials 2, I have a little formula to calculate the actual loss. And those two together, because it's a negative number, you get the correct number on there. Then I've pulled in a little graph here over our current financial year. And it's basically doing the same calculation here. It's pulling in our revenue and it's pulling in the cost, giving us the total profit that we have. I've also divided it by month. So if we go into the settings here, just on a normal bar chart, on the x-axis, I'm pulling in the date and I'm grouping it by month. So we can see January, February, March, April, and then there's also items in the other board for May and June, but since we haven't actually gone there yet. There's no information to pull. And then on the y-axis, I'm pulling in the revenue and I'm pulling in the expenses. And those together, we get the proper data to show each month our actual profit. Then, once you presented that, you might want to present your strategic initiatives or your KPIs or your risk assessments. And all of these have been generated by AI as well. I haven't typed this out. We haven't sat together in a meeting room and put this together. I let the AI do this. So based on this being a board meeting with the executives, I just put in the AI assistant, like here, press up here. You can either have a summary, which I'm going to come get to later, or we do write with AI. And same thing here, you need to be quite specific for the things that you want. And just like with ChatGPT, when you're writing prompts to it outside of Monday, always double, triple check the results that you're getting, because AI might be a little wonky, but sometimes you get some really good stuff. In fact, most of the time you get some really good stuff. So on here, maybe I want, write me another 5 KPIs. So let's do key performance indicators based on what is already in this document. And then I usually add in normal text, because there's times when it gives it to me in HTML or JSON format. So I usually add in the end now in normal text as well. Let's generate. Then you get a text, and let's see if this exactly, we get some customer satisfaction score, return on investment, employee turnover rate, website conversion rate, and average handling time. I think we have one of those things. Yes, ROI we already have, but the other ones we didn't have, for example. So that's great. If you need just some guidance or some help in order to arrive at your strategic initiatives, the AI can be there to just give you a little nudge for what you need. Then if you want that, you can either just press add it to the doc. You can copy the text and then, put it down there and edit it and do whatever you want there to make it look pretty. But I've done the same thing for each and every one of those. So it's already can already take into account what you already have in your document and generate more text and more text that is linked to it by the things that are already there. Same thing here on the action items. It's taken all of the things that I put it down and I'm like, can you give me some action items on these things that are relating to our strategic plan and relating to our KPIs? And it gave us these action items. Then with the assistant, I also pressed summarize, and it will write a short little summary on everything that's being discussed in the document so that you can put it down. Now, obviously, normally in a situation like this, when you have a meeting, especially on a high level like this, all of these things shouldn't be AI generated. However, the summary, or if you want to write out some short discussion points and things like that, it can definitely be of help to you. What I've also done here at the bottom is I've also put in a Gantt chart that is pulling data from the Webinar Financials 1 to showcase where we are in our timeline. So I grouped it by the groups. So we have Q1 and we have Q2. And then we can see the big tasks. And I've also colored them depending on the status. So we can see that all the ones that are in green and that were in Q1 is completed. And then now beginning of Q2, we have this that we've already started working on. So you can get a quick glance, you can press on it, and it will actually bring the item up like this so that you can do changes and check whatever's on here directly from the Gantt chart from within the document. And obviously this can be customized. Now we're looking at quarters. Maybe I want to see it at weeks. If you have a lot of projects with shorter time spans that you want to go through. But that is something that is very cool to do in here. What we're also going to do is previously there, or it's actually still there. But if you want to add something, you either just press the little plus button here, or you can do a dash like that. I usually like to press more options to get up this little menu here on the right. And then you have all of the things that you can add in here. You have your text, so you can do titles, quotes, codes, notice boxes. You can do the lists. You can bring in an entire board, or you can bring in widgets. But what we're going to do is I'm going to go into embeds, and I'm going to go and I'm going to embed everything like so. And I am going to add, sorry, it's loading. Because previously it is still available, but they're going to remove it, is this one, the collaborative whiteboard. However, Monday very recently launched a product called Canvas, which is very similar to just a whiteboard and mural, those type of products. But it has a direct integration with Monday so that you can pull in and create items directly from Canvas. And I want to pull in one of those. However, since it's such a new product, it doesn't have a direct integration to add it like this yet. But since we haven't embedded everything, we can simply just add it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go here, add a site. I'm going to put my link here, paste it in. Let's have it think for a little bit, like so. I'm going to make it bigger. And there, I am actually in my Canvas, the other Monday product, from within my doc, and I can do things, move things around in here, do changes, add things, do a card stack. I can add my images. I can create a new board from Canvas in Monday from within our Workdoc. All through that very simple embed, like so. And you can have multiple people working on it. Obviously, the people that have access to your doc will be able to have access to this one as well. Now, for the sharing options, this is one of the differences when you have it on a workspace level like this versus having it on the item level, is that if I want to share this, I simply press here. And as you can see now, everyone here at Omnitas has access and can find this document. I am the owner. You can edit your access so that only doc owners can access it. But right now, everybody who has access to this workspace has access to this document. I can share this document publicly, which means that I can just send out a link. They'll be able to go into it. They'll be able to see everything that's in it, but with a view access only. Meaning it can be very useful if you need to send out company-wide things. They need to see what's happening on the document, but maybe not everybody's in Monday yet. What you can also do is I can change this doc type to a private doc. So if it's my personal to-do list, I don't need everybody to see my personal to-do list. So I can change it to private so that only the people that I want to have in here and myself have access to it. You can also, just like you can do with boards, change it to a shareable doc, which means that you can have the people that are guests in your account can also have access to this particular document because you've invited them there. Now, let's say on this webinar doc that we created very early on, this is a discussion that we want to have. This is for Q1, but maybe in Q2, it's going to be almost exactly the same thing. We know that we're going to go through exactly the same list, And right now, it's empty, which is great because we are having the discussion right now. So what I can do is I can click on the 3 dots here. I can save it as a template. Yes, let's say this is a template. So now you see that the little star was added there to our doc, so we know that it's a template. Gonna move it up to my other template. And now let's say is Q2, which in fact it is. We're gonna have this meeting again. So instead of choosing new doc here, I'm gonna choose from templates. And I'm gonna go to the templates that are created in our account. And here we have it. We have a webinar doc. Great, use templates. Let's do webinar doc Q2. Nope, let's try refresh. I think it actually was created as well. There we go, webinar doc Q2. Nope, it was not. This is also let's try to create one from this instead. Let's see if we have better luck with this one. There we go. Now it worked perfectly fine. So yeah, when you have those types of recurring projects or recurring meetings, maybe you have a very particular meeting note structure that you have for your stand-ups or whatever it might be, you can just save it as a template, and for each new meeting, just create a new one of these, and you're good to go. All right, that pretty much concludes what I had to speak about today, actually. No questions. All right. Let us know if something comes up, if you need any help or any assistance with this, and we'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you very much.